Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Okay, admittedly, this will sound a little random, but I'm going to pull it back into relationships here rather quickly. I've done this before, bear with me. But I was reading over the weekend that the Milky Way galaxy, our galaxy, is expected to collide with the Andromeda galaxy, which is our nearest spiral galaxy neighbor. And this is supposed to happen in 4 to 5 billion years from now. So don't panic. It's not imminent at all. We'll all be dead and gone. And what they suspect is, and nobody knows, but they've run simulations on this, is that the two galaxies will merge into a single elliptical galaxy. And they know this, or they suspect this because they see evidence of this in other merging galaxies out there. And you know, when I first read that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is going to be a sight to behold. You know, seeing star systems, galaxies, come together, just the calamity that will happen. But then I continued to read, and essentially, now just let me give you some details. The Milky Way galaxy has the estimate is between 300 and 400 billion stars, and the Andromeda galaxy has 1 trillion stars. But when these two things merge, even though there's 1.4 trillion stars in the combined system, it's unlikely that any of the stars will collide. So it'll be basically a non-event. If it were happening right now, we might not even know that it was happening. It wouldn't impact us at all. I mean, the closest star to our sun is Proxima Centauri, which is, and I took astronomy in college. I took a lot of it at it was a liberal arts college. That was the science I really kind of leaned into. So I'm fascinated by it. But Proxima Centauri, I'm fascinated by it, but not smart enough to be a NASA scientist. Let's just put it that way. But Proxima Centauri is 4.24 light years away, which is 25 trillion miles. With current technology, well, the Voyager spacecraft, if it were heading there, would take 73,000 years to get there. We have probes that would take 6,500 years to get there. And they suspect that eventually they'll have breakthrough technology that they might be able to go 10 to 20% the speed of light, which would take anywhere from 10 to 20 years to get there. A long time. So there's just a vast amount of space between the stars in our galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy. And so these things are going to merge, and they'll just sort of pass through one another, as if I'm sure there'll be some things, but for the most part, they'll just be star systems. Our closest neighbor might be, instead of being 4.24 light years away or 4 light years away, might be 2 light years away, which is still a massive amount of space, just a massive amount of space. So bringing this back to relationships, I find it interesting how people get worked up over things that are non-events. This will be a non-event, the merger of these galaxies. It will be a non-event if you were alive 4.5 billion years from now. It would be a non-event. We'd go about our day. And then a lot would happen in our solar system and so on and so forth. But if it were happening right now, it would be a non-event. You'd be going about your day, and it wouldn't be this apocalyptic event. Um, and what got me thinking about this and kind of these two things is I had a member within AmSpirit Business Connections who dropped out way back right around the inauguration of Donald Trump for his Trump 2.0 second term. And I know it's the country. A lot of people are really divided on it. Some people really, I don't want to say don't care. Um, but this particular person, nobody said anything to them. It was just that there were people in the group that were happy, or they saw something on Facebook, and was literally walking away from business because the person was getting referrals from these people. It wasn't like he wasn't getting referrals. He was getting referrals, but he just felt that he had to, walk away. Um, and it's in my mind, it's really a non-event. And I know there'll be people out there, they'll be all up in my business that, well, it's just, they felt it was his conviction and so on and so forth. I get it. I get it. Principle is a wonderful thing. Principle can be a very expensive thing as well. And, to stand on your principles. When I was practicing law, I had clients that stood on their principles on certain things and spent a lot of money in legal fees, not necessarily with me, but with litigators, all on principle. And at the end of the day, it meant nothing. Um, so I understand the whole notion of principle, but a lot of the things that are happening in politics or religion or whatever it might be, ideology, don't really impact our day-to-day lives. And so, why would we make day to day decisions with respect to our relationships relative to it? I live in Columbus, Ohio. It's the hotbed of the Ohio State University, Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm not a Buckeye fan. I never have been. I never will be. And you know what? I have a lot of friends who are Buckeye fans, and I don't let that get in the way. Well, my wife's a Buckeye fan. Probably my best friend in the whole world is a Buckeye fan. I don't let that get in the way. It's and you could say, well, that's a silly thing. For some people, it's not. For some people, it's a big deal. Um, but if you want to say that's not a big deal, then you know so is homelessness in California if you're living in Ohio. It's just I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of the way I feel about it is, I, you know, and maybe this is just my opinion on things. I don't want to torch a relationship based on something that really doesn't impact me. Now if my neighbor's deciding to, I don't know, build a bar in the backyard that's going to be up till 2 a.m., and have dozens of strangers, okay, that's going to impact me. I got a problem with that. Um, but if it's something that's, 10 miles away and it doesn't have an immediate impact on me, the fact that my neighbor is for it and I'm against it, you know what? So what? Um, is it a matter of principle? Yeah, I mean, possibly, we just have a difference of opinion. Um, we probably, well, I'm speculating on a lot of things here as to who the neighbor is or whatever, but whoever it is, you probably have more in common than you have differences on. You just do. And sometimes we get caught up on these things. So the point behind this whole conversation and the merging of galaxies and is that there are big things happening in the world, and we may have differing views on those big things happening in the world or big things happening cross state, cross town, cross country, whatever. Um, don't let that don't let that taint let that impact how you feel about those that are certainly closest to you, but even who are, within your within your circle. Um, don't let those things impact you because it's people are people. Um, People are people, and you stop and you get to know people of different races, people of different religions. I didn't know anybody who was Jewish until I was in law school and had a Jewish roommate. You know what? He's just a great guy. Just, let's watch football. Let's get a pizza, whatever. Um, I have friends who are gay. It's just they're just people. It's just once you stop and really get to know people. Different. Went to college. Grew up. There weren't a lot of blacks in where I grew up. Well, there weren't really any. Um, and I went to college and I was good friends with many. And never really thought about it because they were just people. They're on the football team with me. They're into doing stupid stuff like I'm into doing stupid stuff. So don't get caught up in don't let the big picture things that probably don't impact your life, whether it's politics, religion, ideology, whatever. Don't let those big picture things impact the small picture things that really are your life, and that you deal with day to day.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.